on StreamYard, doing it old school today.
Yeah, there are crazy storms or something going on in Connecticut because we are a little, I know there's not. I'm just trying to come up with something. We are a little worried about the possibility of losing power over in Connecticut for various reasons. So we're doing it old school, kicking it old school style today. And here we are welcoming everyone on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter to Brown Bag Bets on a hump day. And here we are, no win total Wednesday. We are plumb out of those because all
First
the
time
seasons,
in months.
Yeah, all the season's done started. Although I'm excited. That was a fun bit, and hopefully some of those come through. I really did want Washington and Kansas City to tie. That would have been a hilarious result for that. But yeah, the NBA fired up last night. It was really, really fun watching the Lakers stink. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Outside of, I didn't even watch sports. I was telling these guys too. I got sucked into Scream because there's horror films on constantly, and because it's Halloween. And I said, I'm like, it's been so long since I watched it, I forgot who the killer was. It turned out to be Killer, spoiler alert. And I'm like, I should do this with films, like not watch them for 20 years, and then I don't remember the plot twist. I'm not sure I could do that with The Sixth Sense, but it was a good watch nonetheless. I just kind of tracked that and watched a little of the Lakers in the late baseball game, which was also wild with the endings of that. What are your takes on the other one? I think we all know, like, the Warriors are going to be okay. They're going to be good. The Lakers are probably in trouble. But I wanted your take on the Eastern Conference game we had yesterday.
It was nice to see, it's never a bad thing as a Sixers fan when the Lakers lose. I was impressed, though, that they were able to keep the Warriors despite a pretty high pace from only scoring 120 points. Like, I know it's only 120 points, but you go and look, they were able to keep Steph Curry 5 for 21 there, Jordan Poole 8 for 18. So some of the bigger guys they were able to address there. So, a slight positive note for the Lakers, being able to get some less than great defensive pieces to kind of put together. That was fun. It was a solid game. The big piece, I know, Andy, you were talking yesterday about a bench player that you wanted to use for DFS or PrizePicks. The one, and I'm disappointed I didn't think about this, Nemanja Bjelica is going to be a great name for this all year. He's a guy who comes off the bench, really fluid on offense, is going to have just a ton of open catch and looks. We saw last night he was 6 for 7 from the field. I'm not expecting that every game, but that's another name to sort of keep in the back of your mind. But yeah, the East game was pretty interesting. The Bucks came out, looked really great. Giannis continues to exude the attitude I think all of us want to see from stars. He cares about basketball. It's really important to him. He understands the legacy of it. He understands what's on the line. He understands that he needs to come out and start this season. It doesn't matter what happened last season. Every single game is a new game. He continues to look better and better. His game gets improved, if not every season, every month, honestly. He's, during last season, I watched him get better at stuff as the season was happening. So they came out, a nice kind of statement win to start the season for them. Unfortunately, a poor start for us. We lost our first half under there. It wasn't terribly close. And the Nets, who we've got some futures on, start with a little bit of a stinker there. I mean, Kevin Durant had a nice game, but in a lot of ways, you don't want Kevin Durant shooting 25 shots. It's that weird corollary people have, if you running back X a certain amount of times, you win the game. There's probably like a weird reverse corollary with Kevin Durant games where the less he shoots, the more it means the rest of the team is playing better. And if you have to rely on him putting up 25 shots a game, it can be pretty tough. So it was an interesting game. I thought the Nets, again, struggled kind of to play together. I was disappointed in, again, the fluidity there and their ability to shoot and play defense. But it was mostly, I think, just because the Bucks were really great. I mean, Giannis came out, played an awesome game, was a couple assists away from a triple-double, still had 2 blocks, just a really great game. Him and Middleton, plus 25 for Giannis, plus 20 for Middleton. Grayson Allen with the start there, plus 23 for him. So some nice numbers. Just, the Bucks look really good. A friendly reminder that the Bucks are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't worry about your Nets futures. They're not going to play the Bucks 82 times. Like, they're going to play a bunch of shitty teams in there too. So
might be a good time to go in and get some more Eastern Conference.
Yeah, little value on them now that they haven't won a damn game yet. But it is, like we said, we're closing in. We will have a sports equinox tomorrow. We'll do something fun with that with PrizePicks for sure. Maybe even have some sort of contest. See if I can.
All right, we got to figure something out.
I'll figure something out. Maybe if you guys play along, if we hit, we'll give you some money or some of those cool hats or something along those lines. But yes, today we have a ton of action going on. We have picks for you in 4 different sports. And we'll start right away back with the NBA. Get back on that horse, Alex. Dust yourself off and try again. And we have several, like
the 4-pack there for us.
Yeah, you're going to win one of these at least. Probably. I think you win 3.
I like the optimism there. That'd be good. I'd say 3-2 would be a nice start to the season. We'll start with the Bulls team total over 112. This is something we're going to be doing quite a bit here. I think the Bulls are set to have one of the better offensive seasons that they've ever had, and I think will be a top 5 offense in the league. They're playing a Detroit team that is terrible. It looks like number 1 pick Cade Cunningham might be missing. This is basically going to be a Bulls team looking to start their season on the right foot, going into Detroit with the opportunity to really kind of blow this team out. I thought about laying the points and doing some stuff like that, but the Bulls defense isn't going to be very good, and there will be an opportunity for the backdoor to be open here. I take a look at this. I have the Bulls at 115 points, so happy to take 112. There's some juicy 111.5, some less juicy 112.5. They all sound fine to me. Anything 112 plus or minus half a point looks pretty solid to me. Again, Bulls team total overs. We're going to be talking about this a lot for the first couple weeks until they start to adjust. I have this at 115. Celtics Knicks under 217. Congratulations if you had great timing yesterday. This popped up for 218 for, I don't know if it was minutes or hours, but a very short period of time, and has come all the way back down. There are some 217 still around, but I was starting to see 216.5 starting to be painted across the board. I looked at BETSPERTS just quickly before the show. It looks like it might be 216.5 everywhere. Again, it's always nice to use BETSPERTS for that tool. You can see what the line is at a bunch of different books. I don't mind the 216.5. Even a 216 looks nice. I have this game at 213 myself. It's the Knicks. It's the Celtics. You can look at this game back, and again, this is some historical references, but these teams have generally been pretty similar. These tend to be very ugly games between Atlantic Division opponents. These are two teams that the Knicks had one of the better defenses last year. We know that that's important for Tom Thibodeau. Curious to see what the impact of Kemba Walker is. That's kind of my only concern here, holding an under ticket. Can he score enough points on one end and give up enough points on the other end to kind of ruin this? But Knicks, again, a very good defensive team. The Celtics should be a great defensive team. Again, we're curious to see what Udoka does in his first game coaching, but I have this at 213, so happy to take an early season under here. The Raptors, our Raptors, Andy, finally returned to Toronto for the first time since February 28th of 2020. There is basketball in Toronto, NBA basketball. I'm sure someone's been playing basketball up there this whole time. The Raptors return. They're going to play the Wizards. The Wizards are a team that I like. We're going to back the Wizards quite a bit here. So it really is a bet on Toronto. And, as much as I like talking about them being at home, I have this 111-106 Wizards anyway. Give the Raptors a little bit of an advantage. Home court is pretty small in the NBA this year. I'm sure we can talk about that. Maybe have a guest on to talk about that at some point. But 111-106 Raptors is how I see this here. Again, thought about playing maybe a team total, but the Raptors are going to want to play kind of a slow, ugly game. We'll see if Washington allows them to do that. But like Raptors -2.5 here. Don't mind if you want to sell out to like 3.5 or 4 or something, but 2.5 pretty much the consensus. And then the Kings, the Sacramento Kings, like them quite a bit here against a team we will be fading quite a bit. The Portland Trail Blazers and first-time head coach Chauncey Billups will be hosting the Kings. I love the Kings +5.5. I have this Blazers by 2, 117-115. So happy to grab the 5.5. I may or may not have even played a 5 at a worse number yesterday a little bit, Andy. So nice spot for the Kings. Might sprinkle the money line a little bit, but I'm going to wait and see. It looks like Portland is taking a little bit of money. This is just a really nice matchup for the Kings. They have the guards to match up with Portland's guards. They have the bigs to trouble the little bit of bigs that Portland does have. Again, I just don't think very highly of this Portland team, and I think we're looking at actually it will be a pretty even matchup talent-wise. It's hard for Luke Walton to not be the worst coach in the building, but if he can at least be as good as Chauncey Billups is in his first game in his career, the Kings will have a really nice shot to not only win this game, but keep it close, like the 5.5 here. So 4 picks for us. Nothing in the game for my 76ers, Andy, but this really is the start of the NBA season tonight. They'll be in New Orleans without Ben Simmons, as you may have heard.
I have heard some things about that he's having some troubles there, doesn't want to hang out with the team. So we'll see where that goes. And I did bet I'm a big put your money where your mouth is guy. And I talked all this shit about how I'm a Bulls fan now. So I bet the Bulls at -3. So little accidental Andy doesn't know what he's doing CLB in the NBA. Congrats to me. It looks like that's a 5 now. Good job, Bulls. Obviously, it's just I think people probably fading the Pistons. Like we mentioned, 4 different sports today for some picks. My first one will be obviously some golf. A couple matchups today. I've taken it kind of easy on golf. It's still NFL season. I've been busy, but a couple of guys. This is in Japan. This is something, if you are looking at the previous results of this tournament, of which there's only been 2, don't look at last year. There was a thing called COVID, and we decided, let's not send people to Japan right now. Things are a little worse there, I believe was the case, and just international travel was kind of discouraged. So they decided to hold this over stateside. I believe in California when Cantley kind of won it, even though he wasn't having a good year at that time. So this is in Japan, like we saw in 2019. Tiger Woods won it. He actually wasn't having that great of a year outside of the Masters either. That was another one. It's going to be kind of hard to use that tournament as a bellwether for how this one plays. Heavy rains. The course was super soft. They went with preferred lies, like where you can pick the ball up and clean it off and set it back down.
That's a huge advantage.
It's a massive advantage for scoring. You should see the round.
Yeah.
It was only
hammer unders if you ever hear they're going to do that.
Only in round 2, I believe, but it was so wet and stormy that they didn't even let spectators out there in round 2, and they did use preferred lies, so you saw some nasty round 2 scores. A goofy par 70 course where there are 5 par 3s, and it's like a 34-36 split. Nothing makes sense. It's obviously a completely different country, but a lot of people are making some comparisons to the WGC Mexico tournament that's been held the past few years to that course. And I do have a couple guys that actually played pretty well there. And I think Ricky Fowler played halfway decent there. But I went with a couple of matchups here in CT Pan over Kung Hoon Lee. I have these pretty closely ranked. I make this CT Pan a little more of a favorite here based on a couple things, like his play of late. Just, if you just go like short sample size too, he's number 1 off the tee. I think we're going to need to see maybe not complete driving distance, but some accuracy. Bit of a parkland course with some nasty dog legs. So you're going to have to be putting yourself in good positions with that first shot, or the second shot's not going to matter all that much. Yeah. And then Ricky Fowler coming off a bit of a nice stretch here. I know he's done some different things with coaching. He was a bit of a laughingstock for a while there. Obviously, he wasn't making it into the commensurate rankings he needed to make the playoffs and things like that. Excuse me, I think it was the Masters. So he did place 3rd at the CJ Cup. He's had some nice results here in the late summer. I'm going to go with Fowler over Neiman. I don't have him as nearly this big of a dog, getting him at plus 132 right now. Just those 2 for now. And as Dan was so kind enough to mention in the chat, if you're listening to this, tee times for this begin at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight, Wednesday, because this is, again, in Japan, which is a totally different time zone. All right, on to tennis.
Tennis, that's right. It'll be our 3rd sport today. The tiny, little yellow, bouncy, fuzzy ball. I guess it's yellow. I don't know. It's always just like a green hue to me a little bit.
A little both.
Bit of both. We've got just one play today. Again, it's tough with some of these matches. A lot of them are happening right now. The ones that are lined at this point, there's just a couple out there. I didn't really love too much. We do have a total here, and it's not an over. I know a lot of times, Andy, we usually go over here with the tennis totals, but we've got Clara Towson here playing against Shaisai Zhang. Zhang, somebody I've talked about a few times before, a solid tour player, but generally picks up most of her ranking points during the part of the season. We haven't had the last 2 years. There's what we call the Asian swing, where, after North American hardcourt season, after the U.S. Open, normally players would go to China, Japan, Thailand. I believe there's a couple other countries maybe that have smaller events there as well, and play some tournaments where, Zhang would kind of be able to beat up on some local players. There's a tournament in, I forget which town in China specifically, but she goes and wins basically every single year and beats players of an average rank of like 300. So playing Towson here, a younger player who's really putting together a nice season, starting to make a step towards being the player we think she can be, someone to maybe contend for Grand Slams in the next couple seasons. Hasn't had the best year. We are outdoors. I prefer this be indoors, but I think it's a really nice spot here for Towson to get a win and to get it quickly. Looking at the line, it's -5. It's a cheap 5. Didn't thought about maybe laying that, but I just like the under 20 here. As I look at Zhang's losses, they tend to be very quick, especially to better players like this. Again, you could take the -5. Feel free to use Towson and DFS if that's something you're doing for tennis. It's tough again with the timing. This match should be, I believe, at like 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, maybe a little bit later than that. So, again, they don't have the order of play out. But Towson, Zhang, under 20. 20 is pretty much painted everywhere. So go through, look for that under 20. If you want to lay the 5 too, I wouldn't bother you. And if you happen to have some book for some reason, it lets you parlay -5 with under 20, DM me.
TM my ass. I want to know about it.
It was a thing for a little while.
Brett has a good question. Did we bet indoor Ikate versus Arena yet?
We did not. I haven't seen a total pop up there yet. I'm actually curious to see if there's a money line. We'll look that up right now. I'll be betting the over, whatever the over is. I don't care. 21 and a half. I don't care. I'm going to bet the over there whenever that pops. We might get a 20 and a half, a 21 at open sometimes. Because, again, they set those totals generally based on what the money line is. And it should be, I would imagine, Sabalenka by a decent margin. Yeah, I'm not seeing any odds here at Odds Portal yet. So not even, 1x bet or Marathon has put something out there yet. But definitely probably back Alexandrova. If the spread, again, if they open a total of 20 and a half or 21, bet that. Get in there quickly and bet that because that'll be 21 and a half pretty quickly. If you get a chance to bet Alexandrova plus 4 games or more, bet that pretty quickly. The money line will be tough, but they might hang something like Alexandrova, I don't know, plus 200, plus 250.
210, 220?
Yeah, somewhere in that range between 2 and 2.5. If for some reason there's a 3-1 or just kind of a mistake float out there, you can grab that. So those are kind of my parameters. Again, I would have this, Sabalenka probably -3.5, something like that. The total in the range of 21.5, pretty juicy there. Sabalenka minus probably 250 or so myself, something in that range. But we'll see what happens. Again, if the spread's 4 or higher, if the total is 21 or lower, take the over on the total, grab the games with Alexandrova.
And then Leg Show agrees with you on the Bulls. He's also on Jazz and Slumber Puppies. Jazz, big favorite. Slumber Puppies, a sneaky team maybe this year, and then a lean to the Raptors because they are missing a couple players. Yeah, I get
that Jazz look. It's a lot of points. I'm not sure I'm ready to lay 13 this early in the season, but it's definitely the right side. Oklahoma City is a solid defensive team. I'm going to wait and see what Oklahoma City looks like. I think you're on the right side there, but I'm just not ready to lay 13 in that game.
Is that where the Dortress is? Where's the Dortress?
The Dortress is indeed in Oklahoma City.
He's their only good player then. He's my favorite.
Well, you got an SGA. Yeah. SGA went healthy. He missed half the season last year. And then the other look was the Timberwolves. Timberwolves -6.5. Again, I'm curious. That's going to be a fun game to watch because the Timberwolves are a team that I don't think very highly of. They have a nice starting 5. They have a nice starting top 4. Their top 4 players, really solid. I like Russell, KAT. Anthony Edwards is going to be nice. Beasley is a solid player, but everything behind that is ugly. But somebody had been going out and betting their over on the regular season win total. I wrote about this on my piece for 4 for 4, which you can still read if you haven't had a chance. All those markets are still up. That's totals moved up 2, almost 2.5 wins at this point. So somebody with some money and intelligence as far as the books are concerned, and yes, total markets are smaller limits, but to move a win total 2.5 wins like that means somebody knows something I don't know or has a differing opinion. So we'll see. I think that game could actually be pretty competitive. Houston might be kind of sneaky as an underdog this year.
Yeah, I'm down with that. And yeah, I don't know what to make of the Timberwolves team at all. That is full on a thing. I know some other people who had taken somebody was talking about somebody was hammering some CAD MVP numbers, and I don't get it. I think they're going to stink, but I am from here, so I'm inclined to think they will stink.
To feel that way.
I will close it off with some baseball as I am red hot in baseball. Another one there with the
heating up 2 in a row.
The golf chat along with AD and the Ripatoni page talked me into a run scored first inning. So and I had the Braves first 5. So when the Braves put a couple players on, I'm like, oh, here we go. And then they didn't score with some horrific base running. It was sad. So bittersweet run score first inning win by the Dodgers, but my Braves decided to come back, win that first 5 bet. Decided not to win the game, which was a little rough, but it's always tough playing down in Chavez Ravine. So hopefully, probably pretty pivotal game 4 here we're showing a decent favorite there for. I'm trying to look at the money line here. I want to say it's probably decently similar. It's minus 200, minus 210 for the Dodgers. They actually have a starter, whereas the Atlanta Braves have decided to go with a bullpen game. They do have somebody. They didn't have somebody listed before. I was going to go Smiley. I thought it'd be Smiley, but I was also hoping to be Smiley because I know how to say his name. It is a guy whose name looks like it was part of the script for Twin Peaks, where that guy is talking backwards in. Oh boy, Husker Noah. I'm going to go with that. That's pretty. Enoa. There we go. So he is going to be an opener. They're going to go with a bullpen game. I'm taking an over in the late game. A little contrarian, I suppose, because outside of the last game, there hasn't been a ton of scoring, but I liked what the Atlanta offense did. I think we could probably see a little more of that, maybe even some decent base running. That's a team that can score 5-6 runs, even against a decent starting pitcher who did pitch a couple days ago and got a little roughed up in a relief appearance. So Braves, Dodgers over 8 for me, minus 108. I didn't take anything in the other game. You could probably just keep betting overs, I guess, in the Houston-Boston game. Do it till it hurts. Like that one, dead to rights last night. Got a bad call from the ump, and then the Astros pile on another 7 runs. All of a sudden, the over gets there. So I'm just on the over in the late game. We'll try to keep baseball flowing, and I think that's probably it. Should we call it a hump day? Go on with our busy days.
I saw some questions about Champions League. I know that you're a little more into that than I am. I didn't see anything that stuck out to me. Did we have a 5th sport pick to give to the people here? Anything for Champions League for you?
God, I forgot about Champions League. Like that's a tough one because those games, like you do have to dig in. And it is the group stage. Oh my God, you got Juventus at Zenit. Oh, Young Boys over. That's always a good one. Young Boys Villarreal. I don't know what we have for a total there. If it's under 3, or if it's 3 or less, that total is 2.75.
Yeah, 2 and 3/4.
2 3/4. All right. Leg show says Bayern Benfica over 3 goals. I'm going to go with, I'm going to sell out to 3 on the Young Boys. Young Boys over 3 and Bayern Benfica. I'll play a couple totals. Just turn the score app on, let it roll. Go flash score today.
5 whole sports. We did.
I've already got stars on those 2. So, and they happen at the same time. Just waiting for flash score to melt my phone at 2 p.m. Eastern, or 2 p.m. Central here. And real quick shout out to WinBet, where they have some new offers. I'm going to be putting some of that up here as we go soon. You can find some of it in the written stuff. I think new users can get one of these, like bet $1, win 100 thing. Yeah. There's a couple of fun ones like that, especially with the NBA coming around. So look for some of that stuff. We'll have some of that on the feed. We'll have some of that over in the BETSPERTS feed and in any of the written articles you get from us. Alex, go Sixers.
Producer Dan likes the over in the App State game. 6 sports.
Six sport athlete.
Go Sixers. Go Joel Embiid. Let's go.
Go Ben.